finally, let's talk about polishing your resume. You now have a rough cut of your resume, you know what terms need to be in there, and hopefully you've taken the time to look up a particular job that you're interested in and have made sure that those terms are now in your resume. My advisor, Warren Phillips, once said, "There is no such thing as good technical writing. There is only good technical rewriting." And that is one of the principles of resume writing. You're not going to get it right the first time, and it's going to take you time after time. It's going to take you a lot of iterations to get it right. You want to write and rewrite and proof and reproof your resume. You want to make sure there are absolutely no misspelled words in there. You want to make sure that sentences flow, that they're easy to read. You want other people to look over your resume. Go out and have, a lot of universities have career services that will actually read your resume for you and give you tips. Let them read it. Let them bleed all over it. Let them give you insights and write and rewrite that resume. Again, your resume is not going to get you a job. The purpose of the resume is simply to get your foot in the door. The real purpose is you just want that employer to give you a chance. You want to end up on their short list of people that they're going to interview. They're going to call or they're going to bring in for an on-site interview. That's the purpose of the resume. The resume is not going to get you a job, and so you shouldn't have other things in there other than just selling points for why you are a good fit for that position. You'll have plenty of time through the interview process to talk about a lot of other things. The purpose of the resume is simply to get your foot in the door. So write and rewrite it. This is your first impression to an employer, so you want to make sure that it's clean and professional. Now, as you're writing and rewriting, I want you to think about this question. You know, you probably have several bullets of different experiences and different skill sets that you've developed that you've now listed on your resume. But as you read through your resume, I want you to ask the question as you read each bullet, why did you do that? What was it about that action that you were performing that was beneficial to your previous employer? And rather than talking about activity, what you did for an employer, you want to tailor each of these bullets to talk about how you improved the company. What was your benefit to that employer or to the customers? So what were your contributions and benefits, not just your activity? You know, you can say, I stocked shelves at a grocery store. That's what you did. That was your activity. But what was the benefit of that? Was that customer service? What was the reason that your employer hired you to do that? What were you doing for the company? And that's what you want to include there on that bullet. Not the activity so much, but what your contribution and benefits are. Because if you can show contribution and benefits to a previous employer, then a new employer will look at you and see the contribution and benefits that you're going to bring to their company. Not just a bunch of actions, not activity, but how are you going to benefit them? Now this takes some practice, and so I've had to do this several times with my own resume. It just takes practice. You just got to go through each bullet and ask, why did I do that? What was I doing for my employer? And try to reword that bullet in terms of contributions and benefits instead of activity. Now, one last thing is that numbers and percentages are helpful. So if you can remember how many students you helped learn English, or if you have certain numbers that you can tie to things, or certain percentages. So for example, one project I worked on, I designed an aircraft that we were trying to make the aircraft have longer endurance than the previous version. And so that's a nice number that I can put in there. I can say the redesigned aircraft increased endurance by X percentage over the previous design. That's something tangible that an employer can look at, and the number means something to them. They can quantify that. Anything that's quantifiable, those are the types of things you want to try to include in bullets, because that will bring real shape to your resume and real substance. Okay, so we've talked a lot about resumes. There are a host of opinions out there online, and in fact, in the next section, I'm going to give you some links to different YouTube videos and things that you can watch. And some people have other opinions that differ from mine slightly. Some people believe in different types of formatting and structure to your resume. And the key here is to just, again, get a host of ideas. Just go out and see what there is and make your resume your own. Make it an expression of yourself, but also try and do your best to tailor that resume to that specific position so that it can get you through the door. If you can get through the door, then you get the interview, and that's the topic of our next section.